Last year on Power Reviews. We're here to discuss Power Rangers.
Psychological evaluation.
Everything's connected.
Dosage of heavy sedatives.
What?
Do I exist?
Doesn't matter. Thus ends year 0. And now, Database Rangers Power Review.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another mind-numbingly overanalyzed episode of Analytical Fanboys. I'm your host, Simeon the Vacuuminator Scott, and I am, of course, as always, joined by my co-host, the salacious Chris Boingo Ryder Gaston. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm sitting on Jabba the Hutt's shoulder because the crumb.
Hey, that's a reference.
That you don't understand, right?
I watch Star Wars.
No, but you know Salacious Crumb?
Yeah, I know who Salacious Crumb is. I know the entire staff of Jabba's palace. I will have you know, putting my finger on my desk.
Okay, describe Max Rebo.
He's a blue elephant dude.
I just wanted to hear you say blue elephant dude.
Oh my god. So how the hell have you been in the last week, man?
Work.
Yeah, about the same here. I don't know about you, but I'm getting like 5 10-hour shifts a week right now, and that's great. That's great money wise, but I'm fucking beat, and there's some personal shit that's going on right now, which I won't go into on the podcast, but that's making it even crazier. I am a shell of a man at the moment, but you know what? You don't have to be a real man to talk about a fucking internet show, which is what we're gonna do tonight.
Is it?
I think so.
Are you sure?
We watched the same thing, didn't we?
Did we?
Database Rangers Power Reviews. Year 1.
I'm fucking with you.
I figured. Then you see, you can't supremely fuck with me on any level because my script editor to this day has this troll he does on me on every script we work on together, where he will hide the word banana somewhere in the script in an effort to trip me up while I am recording it.
Thanos butt.
Okay, so our topic for this week is one that I put on the list, but I think we both were mutually excited to talk about after we did our episode on Year 0.
Yeah.
It's Database Rangers Power Reviews Year 1. This is the second season of the show, where our titular character, Database Ranger, reviews some more Power Rangers. He talks about the rest of Samurai or Super Samurai, and then he delves into Megaforce. We also get some classic episode reviews, all the while the sort of mystery about who he is, where he comes from, why Dr. K is in his apartment, that all gets expanded on like crazy, and also we get introduced to a bunch of more characters, and a bunch more questions start getting asked because, well, some crazy shit goes down. We'll talk about that a little more once we get into things.
Oh yeah.
Chris, why don't you tell me what you thought about this season and give me your best thing, worst thing?
He upped his production quality a little bit every once in a while. There's some things that go like, but it's also like what 2013 that those episodes were made. 2012.
I think so. It's right around that time.
Yeah. So it's been about consistent. It's consistent, which is a good thing. Writing is at least tight. It's clever.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
His insights into the show are neat, and somewhat nuanced, and a lot, very, very optimistic in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So your best thing, worst thing?
Best thing was... The best way to put this, and it's probably going to sound a little bit like a shitty compliment, that they worked extremely well within their budget.
Oh, yeah.
They knew exactly what they wanted, but knew that they couldn't achieve all of it, so they were very, very particular on how to achieve a good number of those things.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes from his theater community theater background, just because you always have a very limited budget there, but you always try to put on the best show you possibly can for your money. Well, and a lot of that comes through here.
I'm more talking about the cinematography and knowing what shots to get the idea. But the best way to describe it, and we can get into it a little bit later, is the worst thing is it zigged when I thought it was going to zag. And
how so? Let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
Okay, well, the thing is, it's later on in the year kind of season spoiler.
Okay.
So I didn't know if you wanted to go in the story in order, and when it gets to that point, I'll bring it up.
Well, I don't exactly have like an outline of topics or like plot points to go over. I was just more so hoping to have a general discussion like we did last time.
Okay, well, I just didn't know. Well, okay. Part of this is completely my own expectation, but as I was watching throughout it, I was going like, oh man, it seems like he's hinting to this. And what he was really hinting was that the character database was the Phantom Ranger.
What did you think he was hinting at?
Okay, now let me explain. Because you said he drops hints everywhere, so I was going like, okay. I started like trying to put a couple of things together while he was doing it, and he went, okay, his name is Database Ranger. And in one video, he was talking about how Kay talked about the other Rangers and gave them the Ranger designation first, and said that would be really awkward with him, Ranger Database.
Yeah.
Okay. So, he's talking about extra-dimensional things the whole season, like, where does he come from? He's a cyborg. He's like an android. He's a manufactured person. He has no identifiable past. And he's dealing with all these interdimensional things. Why is he doing that? Why is he connected to Dr. K and all these other Ranger-esque things? In my head, this is going to maybe sound dumb or maybe go like, I can see that. I thought he was a human embodiment of the morphing grid.
Oh, so you thought he was like Power Rangers Aqua Ranger.
Yeah, I thought that's not just Aqua Ranger, but just more of like, he is a physical representation, like he is a representation of the morphing grid. That's why he has all the Ranger knowledge. That explains his name, Database Ranger, Ranger Database, Morphing Grid. So that's where I was thinking it was going, and then when he brought up the Phantom Ranger, I went, that makes sense where you're going with the plot, because I was going much more into symbolic kind of cosmic Marvel direction.
Fair enough. I think that's maybe a little too high concept for this show. And also just like the moment he started talking about Turbo and space, and he had whenever he talks about Cassie, his voice gets a little more softer. Like I thought that would have immediately tipped you off to it, because I knew something was up with that, but I wasn't sure what. And then the moment the reveal happened, I was like, "Oh shit, that's totally what that was."
See, I just thought that was character thing.
Okay.
I was trying to pick up more on the giant things.
So
and like that, and like I said, that's more a disappointment on expectation of me, because I was going like, oh man, because I like those big theological, philosophical bullshit things.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, oh man, this is going to be talking about morphing grid, because I love stupid morphing grid thoughts and theories.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I can see how you would go there. But just for me, back when I was watching the show as it was being made, I had no idea where it was going, and I was like trying to grab onto things. Like I said, the Cassie thing I knew was a bit off, but I totally didn't see the Phantom Ranger thing coming until it happened, and then it all clicked into place, and I was like, That makes total sense. Okay. Especially for, like, a Power Rangers fan web show thing, where it's like, okay, if you want to have your character have some cool powers and do some Power Ranger-esque stuff, how could you fit them into the canon? Oh, the Phantom Ranger's identity has literally never been revealed. Like, there's still, even now with the comics, we still don't know who the hell he is.
Oh yeah, no, I understand why it makes sense, and like, ultimately I go like, yeah, you made a better decision, because how the fuck on that budget do you go, he's the entirety of the idea of the morphing grid?
Yeah, because that was also my next question, was like, do you think it's like a bad or good decision to make him the Phantom Ranger?
Ultimately, I think it's a better decision for what they're going for, but if I was to make my own version of this kind of thing, I'd go full on.
You make him a Morphin Master.
I make him the morphing grid, like the morphing grid, and like why not have like just dumb, like, I love the weird cosmic side of Marvel, the Living Tribunal, Death, Eternity, The One Above All. I love those high concept, uber powered humanizations of concept. And like, have I ever told you my morphing grid theory? Like,
I don't think you have. We rarely actually talk Power Rangers. Like, I think the episodes we've done on Power Reviews have been the only times you and I have talked about Power Rangers, except to acknowledge that we both like it.
Yeah. And this maybe play into another reason why I thought it was going this direction, because I like, this is, okay, quick sidetrack. My theory on the morphing grid is that the morphing grid itself is the webbing in between dimensions, specifically between the Power Ranger dimension and the Super Sentai dimension. That the morphing grid ultimately is the expunged power from Sentai teams, hence the time delay between adaptation. And that Zordon was keying into a certain frequency, and the reason why he picked the Zyuranger frequency was because canon-wise, it has been around the longest. Because it was around since prehistoric time, so that power signature has been around on that Earth, expunging energy for so long that when Zordon was going like, I need an energy to help fight shit, he zeroed in on that and was like, oh shit, this seems really powerful, I can use this, we'll call it the morphing grid.
That's really interesting.
And that also...
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say something like that.
And that also explains... That can explain a number of things. Why did they never go into a backwards season? Well, simple. They already had a starting point, so they were going for the next strongest signature, which would be the next seasons. The next Sentai teams. Why did this happen? Why did Die Ranger happen? Well, maybe the suits got lost in the frequency, but the robots and the White Ranger were able to be heavily keyed into. So on and so forth for any other next season. And that also explains and gives a headcanon reason for all the other power keys in Super Megaforce. Because there was residual energy from the Sentai morphing grid.
That's actually really fucking smart. As far as like fixing Megaforce goes. Jake has his own explanation for the Megaforce stuff, which is just kind of more temporal distortion kind of shit that comes up in the next season. But I like that as well. That's pretty smart.
Because then it also like... Because I'm a Marvel fan, I like multi-dimensional, interdimensional weird bullshit that plays into it. So I was going like, oh yeah, I like this, I have this whole morphing grid concept whenever I watch this stuff to a certain extent, because it's never going to be a thing that they acknowledge in canon, and they're never going to give an explanation to the morphing grid because it's too easy not to. So why not have fun with it?
Yeah, and I mean, like, if we were to ever get an official... which never happened in a million fucking years, but if we were to ever get an official Power Rangers Super Sentai crossover, That is the way I would do it. Like, that's a great idea for that.
And hell, it could explain other weird bullshit things, like the feedback loop also affects the Sentai universe, and that's why the Go Busters said it's morphing time.
Yeah.
And that's why Yoshi was in that one scene in the Ninja. Because like in Database Rangers shit, different universes, same people, he was also a ranger in the Rangerverse, but in that universe, that person's just strongly attracted to Ranger stuff, and he just ran into that fight.
Yeah. Okay, well, I just realized we've taken like 5 minutes on this tangent.
I'm sorry.
And while it is a really good tangent, I do like that idea a lot. Let's go ahead and get back on topic, and go ahead and talk about some of the expanded cast we get in this season. What did you think of some of them?
Guy was cool. I like his deadpan. It was a great different version of a straight man compared to Kay, because Kay can also be the straight man, but she's better when she's techno babbling.
Mm-hmm.
So having him there be like dry wit and everything, it works. The Stepford couple,
the more Potsners.
yeah, I didn't I was watching the credits, the cast list at the last video, and it's like, oh, it's just a mix of the two actors' names.
Yeah. They're actually married in real life.
Oh.
Yeah. They're just a couple that Jake and Marissa knew from community theater stuff, and they were like, hey, do you want to play these weird, like, Conehead characters in our show? And they were like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were cool. Mayo was interesting, and it was a neat way to do a thing. And I understand why they went in this direction, because A, they are a real couple.
Mm-hmm.
But just in terms of writing, the romance was a little, I won't say forced, but kind of paint by numbers.
Yeah, it does feel a little like
it felt
just naturally the direction things go. There's not a whole lot of twists in it, but I feel like it works for the story.
It also, yeah, but it gives it like another layer of tension. But like, it was a thing that was much more of like, okay, that's happening, then okay, what's gonna happen next? You know.
And it also provides an easy lead-in to the alphabet soup stuff and figuring out that there's alternate dimensions and different versions of people, and all that stuff. Like, Mayo gets more to do next season. Like, she actually gets some usefulness to the group as a unit, fighting alphabet soup. Whereas here she's just kind of a damsel in distress.
When she's not a damsel in distress, she's interesting. When she was, it was like, okay, you're playing into.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you've watched any of like the Jake Says Hi or their live reactions to new episodes,
the only reaction I watched was the X8 one. Because I'm a slut for X8.
Oh, did you watch his in-character review of X8?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay. That's not a live reaction. That's just a ranger log.
Yeah.
Or writer log, as he calls that one. But they do some out of character stuff, and if you watch that, you can really tell that Mayo is just an embellished version of Marissa.
Yeah, I'm not saying the character's bad. I'm just saying.
Oh no, she's not bad at all. I'm just saying, like, there's these obvious things that are there.
I'm trying to think. Most of it seemed pretty good. The one mad scientist was fun for the scene he was in.
Yeah. That's Dr. C. He's gonna actually come back next season. He's a reoccurring character. Though I think in this season he's just credited as Alphabet Soup Scientist.
But the C's for crazy.
Yeah. That's what I'm assuming Jake was doing there. I've never asked him about it though.
Name him L for lunatic.
Yeah. So since we're kind of touching on that, what did you think of Alphabet Soup's inclusion in this?
It was neat because you never really saw much of them in the actual season, so there's a lot you can just go, but what if they're with. So that's kind of neat. I think the budget hurt it a lot because they reused actors and they gave a really good explanation for why they were reusing actors. Like, that was top notch.
Yeah.
Great working within your budget, but like because there's sort of this MIB kind of operation, Men in Black kind of thing, it would have been nice to see. I don't want to say like MIB because that was meant to be like a big lighthearted thing. I'm trying to think. Maybe have you ever seen anything from like SCP-13 or something like that?
I've never heard of that.
The SCP Foundation.
I can't say I've heard of that.
Okay, it's an internet collective that just make weird, creepy shit. And this one organization that deals with it. I'm trying to think. Have you seen Warehouse 13?
I've heard of it. I may have seen a clip or two, but I don't know a whole lot.
Basically, what I'm trying to get is like it felt like a small cell, which maybe that's what he was going for, but it would have been neat to.
All right. Spoiler for next season, it is what he's going for. This is like an offshoot that a certain couple people, I won't say who because it's a big reveal. But there's a certain couple people from Alphabet Soup who split off and took this cell to go do some nefarious shit.
Okay. But like it felt like a cell, and he was selling it as like the headquarters.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, to me, it just felt like, well, it's one base, but to a guy who's literally barely ever left his apartment, it feels like a big, intimidating headquarters type building.
Yeah. Again, I'm going in with expectations of my own self. The one thing that bugged me a lot, and it may just be me, but the camera they used, for some reason, repeatedly, I just saw yellow streaking on their image quality.
Yeah, I think that was just the case of, like, some bad lighting setups, and Jake has admitted he's not the best at lighting, and he tries to shoot outside as little as possible because he has no idea how to control that. His words, not mine.
White balance and ISOs.
Yeah, and, like, it's kind of that thing of, like, I see it as part of the charm of the show. Like, I see it as, like, it's a guerrilla filmmaking project.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't blame them for it. It's just a thing that kind of was there. And it didn't distract for me. It was just more of like, oh, yeah, there's the thing again. Okay.
Yeah. Like, it never bothered me. The only time, like, a lighting problem has ever bothered me is that scene where the two agents are driving off with Mayo, and they're shooting outside, and because it's the middle of the day and he's standing on asphalt, light is shining up on Jake so hard that it looks like he's, like, the Holy Ghost.
That he's overexposed.
Yeah.
That would have...
Especially because I was like, okay, I can see how on the day you wouldn't be able to figure out how to fix that, but, like, there's editors with just auto-adjust your balance, auto-adjust your coloring features, and I could just throw that shit on, and it wouldn't look great, but it would look much better.
Yeah, and that's, again, experience. This is only, the second year they're doing that?
Yeah.
Not even second year, maybe the first year, because they started in the middle of the year with the first season, right?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to go back and look at the dates again.
But, again, I'm not trying to, like, shit on them. It's just more of like, oh, that's just things I notice.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, like, a matter of just differing expectation levels here, because, like, I never noticed that shit until, like, this watch-through. And I think that was more so because it's like I was watching it for enjoyment and with the understanding of it's a thing a couple made in their spare time.
Yeah.
And this time I'm going through with a bit more of an analytical eye because I'm watching it for a show that's literally has the word analytical in the title.
Yeah, and part of the reason I may be noticing these things a little bit more is just because I'm used to watching. What's the best way to fucking describe these kind of shows? Because it is a significant genre of internet video.
Tick with Tig style.
Yeah, but I kind of want to stop associating these kind of videos with that.
Yeah, I would like to as well.
That's why I'm trying to come up with a genre name for it, so we don't have to go Tiwitig, but like
synopsis and jokes.
Analytical narrative,
I guess, but like very few of the Tig with Tig style shows actually do an analytical narrative. Like, there's pretty much this show, Phalis when he feels like it, and Linkara.
Yeah. No, but they have internal narratives within an episode. It may not be an overarching narrative, but it could be episodic. Like, Anime Abandon.
I have not watched that show in so long. I've forgotten a lot about what it's like.
It's gotten really good. He lost a lot of weight.
Mm.
It's good for him. But videos of this kind of genre, I'm used to the more, for lack of a better way of describing, polished. So going backwards in time and like they're going backwards to a person who at the time was less experienced, at the time may not have the best equipment. I'm not looking at those imperfections as like imperfection. Less stars. You get less stars and kudos from me. It's just more of like, oh, that's a thing, and it's more of like I hope I see that they were trying, and I just see that it was there, and I don't want to not say that it wasn't there.
Okay.
It'd be like seeing a pigeon without a leg, and you can ignore it. It's not gonna hurt anything. It's not hurting anything else. But you just go, that's a pigeon with with one leg. Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, I definitely get that, and I'm glad you went through that explanation because I needed that to understand where you were coming from. I think.
Do you understand where I'm coming from? Because I think I lost myself in that diatribe.
I do. It's you're used to YouTube videos made in 2018, and you're looking at videos made in 2013, 2014, that sort of time frame.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, there was a time before everybody had crystal clear HD production.
Yeah, because now it's like fucking so easy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to
if you have any less than that, your likelihood of succeeding is so much lower than it was back in those days.
Yeah, because back in the day, your video quality can be shit, but your audio can be great and you're good. Now it's you got to be at least you got to have watch at least an hour's worth of tutorials to be pretty okay at editing and good video quality. You're good.
Yeah.
Like, just because it's been a few years and a lot more people are understanding of video production. Like, a lot more, it's easier to understand video production in a general sense.
Production general video production is like a common language of this generation. In a way, it wasn't a few years ago. A few years ago, it was like, we understand how to set up a camera and talk in front of it if we're already a sociable person. Now it's like, I understand how to set up a camera, talk in front of it, put it on my computer, put it into an editor, and edit clips in a way that they won't get caught by Content ID, and also have a bunch of cool effects, and also to throw in a thing from this, I can turn into a Power Ranger. Ain't that cool?
Yeah, but like, it's a little bit charming to go back and see like, oh yeah, this was the internet back then. It'd be like going back and watching an old Philip DeFranco, an old Wheezy Waiter, going back and watching old Rhett and Link, and you go like, oh yeah, these have an old school charm to them. But that's because this was made back when those things were old school charm.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a current product that feels like that. It's that old.
It's not Stranger Things. It's the Transformers the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was the best comparison. I probably should have gone to like a Steven Spielberg movie, but oh well, it's done now.
Yeah, but but it's just I wanted to point those things out, just not because shame on you, but more that's a thing, and maybe they get better. They probably do. I haven't watched the rest of it. You have. You could probably say like, no, wait, I did watch the latest episode just to see if the video production quality came up, and it did, and they also have some good set design. I didn't understand shit.
How lost were you?
I didn't understand shit. But also, I think, also the latest one was in 4:3, and the one right before it was in 16:9, and it was like, wait a second, aspect ratio, maybe that just got messed up in the edit or something.
Yeah, it takes him a while to get aspect ratio down, I think.
But I just watched the latest one, and I was like, oh, cool, there's genuine set design, there's some interesting costume, they did this. It's like, there is noted improvement. That's why I'm not, like, bashing all these little imperfections. It's much more of like, that's the thing. Because I know he gets better.
Yeah. So those are great sets, but I'm going to burst the bubble just a little bit on you here and let you in on the fact that those sets are repurposed from a one-off fan film he did that was the first episode of a Power Rangers adaptation of Go Busters like 2 years before Beast Morphers was announced. Yeah. He had watched Go Busters in anticipation of it being the next show, and then Dino Charge got announced, and he was like, what? They're skipping it? Okay, I'll adapt it myself, because I loved that Sentai, and I had a lot of ideas for how to adapt it. So he made a pilot episode for what would be a season of Power Rangers, and actually premiered it at Power Morphicon. They kind of let him have a panel to do it, it's pretty good. You should look it up. It's called Power Rangers Grid Defense.
But again, it's fine using that shit. Power Rangers does that shit anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the soldier suits in Lost Galaxy were were borrowed from Starship Troopers.
Oh no, they direct bought those as soon as production on that movie finished. Or I think they might have been in a warehouse.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Because a lot of people use those suits.
Okay, I didn't know those get used a lot.
Oh yeah,
and also Astronema's costume is I forget what character it was, but the like black bodysuit she wears when she's got the purple wig, that was in the Spawn movie.
Oh God, Power Rangers, get all the pop culture. No, Power Rangers, dive into pop culture's dumpster and get what you can.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the best way to describe it. Holy shit.
So I wanna take the reins for kind of a little second here and talk about the thing that happens in this season that kind of cements this as like my favorite story-driven review thing, because Jake is constantly going out of his way to put in these little explanations for things that are just inherent to this genre of online video.
Like he did with the camera.
No one else does. And you get that in season 1 with the camera, but in this season he just goes ham on it. Like he explains, constantly cutting to clips for jokes. What is that? He's doing impressions. why are videos taking so long to come out? The time stream is literally getting fucked because of what the villains are doing. There's a couple other things, but they're not coming to my mind right now.
The reference is
like
once he realized he's a technopath, and that's why he can get all the extra footage.
Yeah, him doing the episodes just randomly while he's doing stuff, and people are going like, why are you reviewing right now? He has no choice. It's being shot into his brain, and he has to work through it.
Yeah.
And then there's also, why is it so tied? Why is he doing so many story beats that are similar to the thing he's reviewing? Well, it's because the two dimensions and what is going on with them are kind of intermixed right now. And he'll go more into that in season 2, like I said.
And see, that's another reason why I thought he was the morphing grid, because the morphing grid may have seen, oh shit, here's a way to help yourself.
Yeah.
Father, Son, Holy Ghost style.
Well, and he hasn't gone into it at this point, but like you could still say like the Phantom Rangers is like has some kind of feed into the morphing grid, like he's got some sort, his positronic brain is tied into it somehow.
Yeah. Like, when I realized it was less of, oh shit, my theory is gone and pointless. It's much more of like, maybe my theory isn't pointless, but it may not be the way I thought it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, yeah, like I was saying, that stuff with the, with explaining the little tropes of the genre and the things that have to be there, that stuff is just so brilliant to me, and it's what puts it a step above all the other story-driven review shows I've seen. Like, it's hard for me to watch shows like Atop the Fourth Wall after I've watched this show, because Jake puts so much care into integrating the story into the review and making it all feel natural, that when I go over to Atop the Fourth Wall and it's like, episode ends, long-ass credit sequence, here's 5 minutes of story shit that has nothing to do with the review, I'm like, wow, you really didn't think this out, and you're really just trying to get an episode out every week, aren't you? And like, not to dump on Louis Lovehog, because I do enjoy Atop the Fourth Wall, I'm just saying it's such a step down in comparison.
Yeah. I can see that.
Oh god.
But it's not.
But yeah. But yeah, snot.
I'm sorry, I had snot running down my sinus eye.
It's okay. We'll edit it out. I'm lying.
I don't care.
I thought I was just talking to them. Oh god. I'm just waiting for you to work through it so we can continue.
Alright, this should be good.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to really touch on?
I'm trying to think. Did the special effects were as good as they could make them? Again, budget, like they did well within their budget. But also using like classic old school technique, like painting on the stills to make a lightning bolt portal. It's like, yeah, that fits. That fits with the Power Ranger aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice that his helmet was CGI?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
See, it took me an episode to get it.
Oh, Lord. Oh.
But that's because I think that was just because the first time I watched these episodes, I was so shocked at the reveal that that I was kind of just in awe of it. And then next season, when he comes in as the Phantom Ranger again, I'm like, oh, that's a bit floaty. What's going on there?
That's a bit floaty.
But if you look at recent uploads on his channel, he has just recently gotten in a helmet from Anarchy Cosplay. So in the final episodes of the show, he will have an actual helmet, which helps him out a lot because in all the time I've talked to Jake, a lot of stuff with us goes back to compositing is hell, don't do it. hire actual twins if you're gonna have doubles in a show. Get an actual helmet if you're gonna have a helmeted character in a show.
Yeah.
And that's a large part of what makes the episodes take so long to come out now is just compositing. It takes forever for him to get done.
Put some dots on his face so he can have some points of reference.
I don't know actually what his process is. I just know it takes him quite a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, one other thing I did want to touch on is I really like how he uses the classic episode reviews to sort of build up the knowledge of the other characters and kind of get them to points where they're more capable of doing reviews. And he always picks an episode that's very emblematic of its season and is easy for him to get in his entire thoughts on the season through it, because he doesn't know if he'll be able to go back and do more episodes from that season at any point, because I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode we did on Power Reviews, but he does have a definitive end for it. Episode 100 will be the last episode. One detail I really like about those classic episode reviews is when they're going through the intro and just going like, these are the characters, this is the basic knowledge you need to know to understand the plot synopsis I'm about to give you. That's really smart. I rarely see other reviewers do anything like that, and I think it helps people just jumping into the show at that point a lot.
Yep. Yeah. Agree.
So how did you react to the whole initial arc of Kay disappears and then she's back and we're still not sure if she's real until the alphabet soup stuff goes down?
I thought it was,
because that was a big point of intrigue with us in the last episode, and we didn't really follow up on it yet.
Yeah, no. My theory that she was a member of the... Again, I like high-minded, weird gobbledygook shit. And that she was a creation of the collective unconscious was wrong.
Like I said, there is hinting at stuff like that happens later.
Like, I just go full psychedelic with this shit, apparently.
You know what we need to do? We need to get you on some Doctor Strange.
I read Doctor Strange. I need to catch up, but
I hear the new Marvel Fresh Start book is quite good. I haven't read it though.
And I really enjoyed the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like King Gizzard, the Lizard Wizard, one of my favorite bands. Full of that kind of shit. Like, legit, they have a song where a robot desires to eat, gets the ability to eat so much that it starts to puke, and then puke so much that it destroys the universe.
Oh my god. That's insane.
Yeah. They have a whole album that's just completely microtonal. Like, they built microtonal guitars.
Oh my god.
They have a whole album that can completely repeat due to the fact that the last song fades into the first song, so it can be a complete loop.
Wow.
And just last year, they released 5 albums, not songs, albums of 20 songs apiece, about, roughly, in a year.
Well,
while touring.
That's cool, but I'm not entirely impressed with it, just because I know there's bands out there who do album every month, new song every day kind of thing.
No. While touring and running an independent record label out of Australia.
Huh.
Like... And each album isn't just more of the same thing. Each album is a completely different concept.
Interesting.
The first one was the microtonal, so they had to relearn guitar to play an entire album. And the second one was like psychedelic jazz. It's weird. I love them. But back to the database.
Yeah. Anything else you wanna touch on before we wrap up here?
I love how they go out of their way to not call him a homunculus, because that's what he is. He's a science homunculi.
I didn't even know that term until you said it now. So
Do you don't know what a homunculi is?
I don't think I would have gotten it if they had gone there, and I don't think other viewers would have.
A homunculi is a human created by alchemic means.
Okay.
At least that's what's the old thing, but now you can say a homunculus is a human created through blank means. Because that's what they're inferring, that Database Ranger is technically, fully functionally, a human being. He's just not created with sperm and egg.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even know that term existed. I didn't know I don't know a lot of alchemy shit. All I know about alchemy is that there's this one guy who he's full metal.
And even then, that's not traditional classic medieval alchemy. I know too much shit.
Well, in time you will teach it to us. You will teach us all a lot of things, I'm sure. But you know what was a great teaching moment in this show? That fucking speech Jake drops in the penultimate, or I guess it is the final episode of year 1, because the Christmas episode is technically a special. But that speech about how, like, it doesn't matter if they're not the Rangers you grew up with, or if you find them embarrassing. Every season matters. All of them are important because they all happened. Like,
yeah, Mr. Megaforce sucks.
Yeah, that was a big moment for me when that episode came out. I don't know if I was actually making Megaforce sucks at the time.
I was more making a joke. I'm not trying to poke bubbles in you.
I know.
I'm just going like, right.
That was indeed a thing that happened. But yeah, it's such a great, powerful little speech, and like, it's one of those things where every time I watch it, because I have seen that episode multiple times, every time I watch it, I'm kind of like, yeah, I rag on certain seasons, but at the end of the day, it all does matter. And like, it's one of those things where people, like, I remember back when the episode Samurai Surprise aired. That's a Megaforce episode where Jaden returns, and one of the Megaforce Rangers calls Jaden legendary. They're like, "Oh, you did this, you did that. You're Jaden, the Red Samurai Ranger. You're legendary." And a lot of people got pissed off about Jaden being called that because this was fresh off the heels of Samurai, and a lot of adult fans still aren't very fond of Samurai. And I remember looking at that on Twitter, and I was like, no, he's still a Ranger. His season still happened, and just by the very base definition of this season, where the past Rangers are referred to as the Legendary Rangers, no matter what season they come from, he is a Legendary Ranger. He deserves that title. And so, like, while there's seasons and parts of the show that I utterly despise, I will never deny them their status as a part of the show, because they still happen. Like, another great anecdote is back when people were constantly doing petitions of, like, Saban should completely reshoot Megaforce and use our scripts. Like, there were GoFundMes for that shit, and I was like, you people are literally insane. What are you doing?
I hate shit like that.
Yeah.
They didn't do the thing I wanted them to do. They're wrong.
It's a terrible, awful, no good season, but, like, there's no going back.
Oh Lord, fuck me.
After the show, you gotta come on, man. We're after the show. I've told this guy 5 times now. He's so impatient. You wouldn't believe it.
Motherfucker, I'm gonna shove an unpleasant dildo up your ass.
Yeah, but just be patient, motherfucker. Anyways, I think that's about all we have to say as far as like specific talking points. So, closing thoughts.
Good effort by a low budget team doing a low budget thing for love and passion.
Yeah, it's good times, and like I said, the most top tier writing in this genre, in my opinion, and that's the large reason of why I love it. I can overlook the production stuff for these fucking tight scripts.
All right, fucking Digi.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing there. Thank you very much. All right, well, let's go on now to questions. And as is typical in this household, nobody wants to put in any participation. Nobody wants to do their chores. We didn't get any questions.
Motherfucker, we have 8 subscribers.
That could be 8 questions right there. That's all I'm saying.
3 of those subscribers are me and you, probably.
Well, what the hell, me and you? Why aren't you pulling your weight? Alright, Chris, let's go on to the random question generator and pick our randomly generated question of the
No, you're saying that right. Random questioning questions. Yeah.
Go ahead and pick a number between 1 and 5 for me.
6.
What do you like better, cake or pie?
4. I'll go with 4.
Which do you like better, dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a dog person. I've had cats a couple times, but I've almost always had a dog through my entire life. Because, little known fact about me, until, like, I want to say, like, maybe a couple years before I started my, my quote-unquote YouTube career, my family raised English Springer Spaniels.
Neat.
Yeah.
No, there's a dog I want. I want a Russian bear dog.
That sounds familiar, but I can't picture it in my head.
Hold on, I'm gonna find a picture and send it to you.
Okay, we're gonna do this.
Bap, ba-da, ba-da, ba, ba-da, ba.
Ba, ba, ba. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do.
Oof. Another name for them is Caucasian Shepherd Dog.
Huh.
Hold on, I'm getting a couple photos so you can get the scale of this beast.
Oh, you want a big puppy. Big puppy. Oh, it's these dogs. Okay, yeah, I've seen these.
I want one of those beasts.
Yeah. I mean, I've always kind of wanted a husky. Like I said, for most of my life, it's been English Springer Spaniels. Currently, I have a King Charles Cavalier because the last of our Spaniels actually passed away shortly before we moved out of Florida here to South Carolina. But yeah, I've had cats, and like, not to bag on people who are cat people, but there's a simple difference between cats and dogs where cats only want to hang out and do stuff when they want to hang out and do stuff. Dogs are just always down to clown. And if you want to be left alone, they'll go in the other room and lie in their bed. Like, Dogs are just that friend that's always there, but they've got their own shit going on, and that's why I like dogs better. Not to say there's anything wrong with having cats, especially because I know Jake and Marissa are cat people.
No, my family has a cat right now. The cat's cool, and it loves to be fucking head scritched, but the cat's not gonna go fetch for you, so.
Yeah.
Plus, they shit in the box. I mean, who does that?
Oh my god. Okay, well, that is your randomly generated question of the week, everyone. So
sorry, I thought that would be funny.
It was.
Okay, good.
You're a comedic genius, Chris.
I wouldn't go so far as saying comedic.
Ayo. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we are going to go ahead and select our topic for the next episode of Analytical Fanboys. Chris, are you ready?
Am I?
I don't know. Can you see it?
Yes. I mean, technically.
All right. Well then, we will select the next episode's topic in 3, 2, 1. Go on, load.
Buckaroo Banzai!
Oh shit!
I suggested this. Ooh, Buckaroo Banzai.
I've heard legends about this film, so I am actually very excited to do this.
Should we give the audience a primer?
Go ahead and give them the primer since you're more familiar with it.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, okay, so I suggested this. It's a movie from 1985, starring the dude who also played RoboCop.
Peter Weller?
Yep, that guy. Couldn't remember his name for a half a second. Basically, it is the story of Buckaroo Banzai, the brain surgeon, race car driver, international detective. What else does he do? Rock star. He's a rock star. And a bunch of other things. Fighting evil. Also, there are Jamaican aliens.
Yes. Oh, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to finally watch this movie. I'm gonna have to get a hold of a copy because I don't own one as I haven't seen the movie. But that's probably not entirely a problem, especially because of. Do you wanna go ahead and announce the hiatus?
There's gonna be a hiatus.
Yo. Hello.
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, shit. I thought you got disconnected for a second there.
No, I was
My
just making a
screen
dumb
froze.
joke because he said, you want to go ahead and announce the hiatus, and I went, there's gonna be a hiatus.
Oh. Well, my screen, froze in a weird way for a second, probably because I stopped sharing my screen.
Yeah.
So,
But, we both want to keep working on, some independent projects for Lewis a little bit, so we're going to take a quick little break. Not a long time.
For a week, maybe 2.
Of just
basically,
yeah.
Basically, I've had 2 videos in the oven for about a month now. Chris has had more for longer. So we wanna take just a little break from the show to get these couple videos out and about, and as soon as that is done, we will go ahead and reconvene for the next episode.
Yeah.
I'm pretty far along on these 2 videos. I don't know where you are on yours, but
for a good number of them, it's just a bunch of editing, and it's more of putting one thing directly on the back burner for me will just be able to consciously bring the thing that's kind of been on the back burner, which have been my videos because of real life and daily work, back onto a front burner kind of thing.
Yeah. And mine are I've been working on mine in all the spare time I've had over the last couple weeks, but that's not been a whole lot, especially because work is just killing me right now. But if I can just sit down and do almost nothing but edit my next couple days off, I can probably get those out within a week or two, which is what I'm planning to do as soon as I've got this thing up.
Also, dude, you can rent Buckaroo Banzai on Amazon for $3.99.
Oh, cool. I kind of want to get the DVD though, because do you remember that thing I told you about, the DVD that I found out?
What?
There's a commentary track on the DVD with like the director and like a couple other people who were crew members on the film, and then the guy who plays the chronicler of Buckaroo Banzai is on the commentary, and he's in character the whole time, and people are constantly asking him questions about how accurate the film is to the actual Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, that shit's great. Okay, I also have another movie I need to put on the list that I'm going to put in place of Buckaroo.
Okay, go ahead and do that.
Do you want to know what it is?
I mean, I'll see it as soon as I look at the list next, so go ahead and tell me.
UHF.
Oh, that'll be dope. I love that movie. But
and
yeah,
when we do the podcast, we're going to eat Twinkie Wiener sandwiches.
You goddamn right we are. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say for this episode. So let's go ahead and go into some outro wrap-up stuff. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Analytical Fanboys. If you want to listen to more episodes as they come out and are produced, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you want to take the show with you wherever you go and listen to it on your phone or whatever, go down in the description. There's a link to download every episode on Google Drive as an MP3. If you would like to ask either of us a question and have on the show, go ahead and email us at analyticalfanboys@gmail.com. Make sure you specify in the subject line, question for the podcast, okay to read on air. And yeah, we'll probably answer it, especially because I've been so hungry and desperate for questions lately.
You're a slut for questions.
I am. I want fucking questions. I love doing Q&A shit, and I was hoping for it to be a bigger part of the show, but it hasn't been yet. Hopefully soon.
Well, dude, we're probably going to get a bunch of listeners once you finish your video and go, hey, by the way, guys, I have a podcast.
Yeah.
Right up the alley. You know.
But hey, if you want to see these videos we've been talking about, why don't you go ahead and check out our YouTube channels, our individual channels, because I know you're watching this on YouTube and you're going, hey, this is a YouTube channel, isn't this your YouTube channel? No, we got our own channels, damn it. You can go ahead and look at mine. It's The Vacuuminator, just youtube.com/TheVacuuminator. I do analysis of tokusatsu and other cool superhero media stuff. Hey Chris, what's your channel? What do you do?
It's Boingo Rider on YouTube. I do video editorials about things I like, including, but not limited to, Kamen Rider X-Aid, Pokemon designs, and the fact that they are not as shit as you may think they are. And...
well, that's great, Morty. I'm really glad you do those videos. They're so good.
I wasn't trying to do a Marty impression. I was just... That's my awkward voice. This is how I go into...
Well, you know, it sounds a lot like Morty from Rick and Morty, and this is my Rick, so you can be the Morty to my Rick, and...
Wouldn't I be more Rick because I burp a lot?
I was gonna try and burp there, but I can't burp on command. I can't do that. That's not a thing I can do. But hey, a thing you can do is you can go and follow us on Twitter. My Twitter is @TheVacuuminator. And Chris, your Twitter is @Boingo_Rider, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
Well, that's really great, Chris. I'm glad you got that Twitter so you can get your thoughts out whenever you need to get your thoughts out.
Lordy.
What the fuck has happened to this episode? Oh my god.
Absolutely everything and nothing. We are failures as content creators.
Yes. And I think that's a great place to end it. So that's going to be it for this episode of Analytical Fanboys. Thank you again for joining us for this discussion of Database Rangers Power Reviews Year 1. Be sure to join us again next time, whenever that happens, when we will be discussing the film Buckaroo Banzai.
I have one last word to say for this episode.
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah, we need to end it that way. So until next time, this is the Vacuuminator and Chris Boingo Ryder saying, what?